2.5 years ago, I found out that co-ops such as these around the country, the same kinds of co-ops that I belong to, that ensure me getting my food directly from farmers, were being raided by the government. And I became outraged by this and decided to make a movie about it. My reaction was I was just so mad about it. I couldn't let it go. That's why I couldn't sleep at night, and that's just why I had to do this. I just couldn't figure out why there was such a violent reaction. The standard answer is that it's one of safety, to keep us safe.
They're actually going onto the farm and telling farmers how to grow things.
I've been through 4 pregnancies. I could smoke through all of them, and yet I can't go to a farmer near me and purchase this amazing, healthful, nutrient-dense, fresh milk.
Raw milk from South Carolina, USDA grade licensed dairy. An imminent health hazard according to the state of Georgia.
They even took the sheep that I had brought over from New Zealand, and they took them out to Iowa and they killed them for a disease that doesn't exist to this day.
What I saw from at the top of the stairs was a man right here around the corner with his arm like this and a gun pointing up at me.
They came with the director of milk control, the assistant director, and our inspector, and they all came and pretended they were just going to do an inspection, and then they did a seizure.
They terrorized the children, took the farmer away in handcuffs.
And it was a SWAT-type team raid, which included the FBI, the FDA, the CDFA, and the health department, along with half a dozen sheriffs.
We were just recently raided again for the 3rd time, 6:30 in the morning. Knock on the door and my kids again ousted from their beds.
Every time there is a major shakeup in the food system, local food takes a hit.
Smile for the camera.
If you look at the statistics between 1970 and now, the U.S. has lost 88% of its dairy farms.
There's got to be a way that we can protect biodiversity. We can show that sustainable farming is the only way forward.
It is alarming these days to hear more and more about what's happening with farmers and certain restrictions, and they're running into trouble with the government when the people who are producing sort of the most unnatural processed foods are just running along producing all that stuff.
The only option consumers will be left with is the grocery store chains buying from these huge processing plants.
There aren't a lot of advocates right now for sustainable farming and organic farmers within our government. And I'm hoping that the public pressure and the support of local foods is starting to push change.
And one of the things I think it's important to understand here is it's beautiful, and good food production should be aesthetically and aromatically, sensually romantic.
What I believe is we need to have the rights we've been given as Americans, and we need to be able to have the right to choose healthy foods.
Some terrible things are happening out there. Fortunately, we do have good legal help now, and we have the internet, and we have ways of publicizing these things. But it's America, wake up. I mean, these things are starting to happen, and if we don't have a huge outcry, it will continue to happen.
The sad thing right now is that agribusiness is actually trying to get laws passed in a bunch of states that would never allow any pictures of any farm. Now, every farmer in my movie welcomed me with no appointment, with my cameras to take pictures, to film anything I wanted. They gave me access to their homes, to their barns, and to their farms. And the big agribusinesses in the factory feedlots they're locked up and you can't get in. The food safety bill gave the FDA power to shut anyone down, any farm down, if they just suspect that it could cause someone to be sick. They don't have to prove it. They can just come in and shut you down. And so I was very much against it, given that I've met these farmers who never made anyone sick and were threatened and shut down. Michael Taylor, who used to work for Monsanto, and he wrote the paper that to submit to the FDA that proved that bovine growth hormones were safe for human consumption, that they were putting in the milk. Then he went to the FDA and approved his own paper. Then he went back to Monsanto, and now President Obama appointed him as the food safety chief. So, that's just one example of a revolving door that, isn't really in our best interest. I say I was really happy last week when a USDA agent came up to me and thanked me and said that he was going to research this and figure out why this was happening because, in his opinion, and I'm sure this is true, most of the people that work for the USDA are very supportive of the small farmer. So, there is a document called Healthy People 2020, and in that document there was a line, and I don't think it's there anymore. I think they took it off because they had so much pushback. The line said that by 2020 they want to reduce the number of states that allow the sale of raw milk. Luckily that line seems to be gone, but I don't think that just because the line is gone for the document, I don't think that they've taken that off their agenda. Well, I was very lucky that Ron Paul graciously accepted an interview with me. He introduced a bill that would allow the sale of raw milk across state lines. I like to make sure that my meat is grass-fed. I think that it's important to know the producer, no matter what it is, if it's your vegetables, your meat, or your milk, to step on the farm, to meet the farmer, to know their growing practices, to see where it's being produced, to see how the animals are being taken care of. My main message is that we should be able to consume the foods of our choice from the producers of our choice, and the producers should be able to produce whatever the foods that their consumer wants. My website is farmageddonmovie.com, and in there is a screening request form, and you can contact me through there.